What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Hey, we're sitting at like 295 subs. Thanks guys for all the support for the channel. We're 5 away from 300. Let's go ahead, get those likes, head on up to 500, which is the next milestone. And let's talk about this deck right here. So this deck is on fire right now. It is one of the best decks that's out that you can buy, that's budget. Pretty decent strategy, a very decent. It's looking like tier 1.5, tier 2 deck. Super consistent, been around for a really long time. Let's talk about Traptrix, guys. So, like I said, this deck is very strong, very old, just got support. Let's get into it. All right, so you're going to be running one of the Padikas. So this is just going to be a one of. When it's normal summon, you can search the field spell. When it is special summon, you can banish one of your opponent's monsters. But then during the next standby phase, they can special summon a any banished monster. So it's probably not a good idea to use that second effect unless you're going to close out the game. So anyway, we run one of those. Pretty decent card to help you search out the one of in the deck. No more talking. Then you're going to be running two of the Arachnacampas. This is also another card that came out of the structure deck. The reason why we don't run three is because literally you just have to control a Traptrix monster to special summon it. And then what it does is it provides protection against all your set cards, all your spells and traps, I believe. And it allows them to not be destroyed up to once while they're set on the field, which is pretty dope. Then you're going to run three of your Traptrix Myrmelio. This card is the oldest Traptrix card. It's pretty good. I mean, in terms of what it does, right? You can normal summon it and then add one whole whole normal trap monster from your deck to your hand. Then when it's special summoned, you can pop a spell or trap. Pretty decent, right? Mantis is pretty much the same thing, except you're gonna add a monster with its effect. So when it's normal summon, you can add one Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. Then it can bounce you can target a set spell or trap you control, and then return that target to the hand to set one from your hand, to set a spell or trap to your hand. So it's pretty decent, right? Then you're going to be running two of your Dionea. Two Dionea. What that means is that card, when it is normal summon, it can set a whole spell, I believe a whole trap card from your graveyard. And it's a level 4. It's pretty beefy at 1700 attack. Yeah, I mean, you got a pretty decent lineup here. And then your last Traptrix is going to be Vesiculo, right? So Vesiculo is a one of in the deck. And let me read its effects so that way I'm not just kind of reciting from memory, but it's unaffected by normal whole traps. You can only use one of the effects per turn, and once only that turn. It says you can send or one set trap you control to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. If you control no other cards in your spell and trap card zone, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Then target one normal trap in your graveyard and set it. So, I mean, this is kind of like sort of a recovery card if you have no cards on your field, or it's a good starter, if you're going. Sorry about the glare on that card. Hopefully you can see it. There you go. But yeah, that's going to be your Traptrix monster lineup. So let's go ahead and look at the next lineup of monsters. We got a little bit. We're going to be running a little heavy on monsters, just a little bit. I mean, we're running 17, I believe. So you're going to be running 3 Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed is going to just kind of help you combo off, get that Traptrix stuff started. Parallel Exceed, it can special summon itself to a zone a link monster points to, then special summon a copy of itself from the deck. They both come level 4. So obviously easy rank 4 plays. And then you're going to be playing two, Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison. So this card is pretty dope. It's pretty dope in the fact that it protects, it special summons itself. I mean, really, what else could you want within a monster, right? What else could you really want? So it's basically a staple in back row strategies. So that we're going to use it for what it's made for. So yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the spells. It's not very many of these things in this deck. So we're going to be running one Traptrix Garden, right? And Garden is kind of like it's your field spell for your deck, and it adds an additional normal summon of a Traptrix monster in addition to your normal summon. And then the first time an insect or plant monster you control would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed, and you can banish one monster you control to special summon one Traptrix monster from your hand or graveyard. So notice how it says banish a monster you control. So you can technically control an opponent's monster, banish that, and then special summon a Traptrix from your hand. Pretty broken, right? We're going to be moving on to the final spells of the deck, and we're going to be running two Traptrix Tantalizing Tune. Now, I know what a lot of folks are going to say. You're going to say, hey, Patrick, how come you're not running Pot of Prosperity? How come you're not running Desires? How come you're not running any of those extra draw cards? Well, it's simply because this card has way more utility. It has multiple effects, and you can use them both in a turn. You can use them both that turn. So, Tantalizing Tune, you can discard one level 4 insect or plant monster or one normal trap to the graveyard, right? And it doesn't even say to the graveyard. It just says discard one. So even if you have like a macro-like effect going on, you can still activate this card and get its effect, right? And then it says draw 2 cards. So everybody knows anytime a card says draw 2 cards, that's pretty good, right? Especially with the low cost of discarding an insect or plant, which all the Traptrix are insect or plant. Then it says you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one of your banished level 4 insects or plants, or normal trap, place it at the bottom of the deck. And then you can only use the effect of once each per turn. So it's got 2 effects. So number one, you can banish it, or you can draw 2, right? And then number 2, you can banish it to put a whole trap or a Traptrix monster right back in your deck. Pretty busted. Moving on to the traps, we're going to play our one of. So we're going to be playing one copy of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. This is pretty much it's pretty much an imperm with a pop. That's pretty much what it is. Then you're going to be playing one Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. Now the wording on this card is pretty interesting. All right, so the wording on this card basically states this. It says that if your opponent has special summoned a monster this turn, target one monster your opponent controls with 2,000 or more attack, destroy it. Then, if you have a whole normal trap in your graveyard, you can banish one monster your opponent from your opponent's graveyard. So, pretty interesting, right? So, essentially, you can activate it any time after your opponent has conducted a special summon. Yeah, anytime after your opponent has conducted a special summon. So moving on, we're going to be running one of the Floodgate Trap Holes. This is like a broken card against Kashtira. I'm pretty sure from better deck profiles that you've seen people say similar things. Then you're going to be running one Bottomless Trap Hole. Then you're going to be running 2 Gravediggers Trap Holes. Now this is going to be where you stop your opponent from Nibiruing you. That's your Nibiru-proof stuff. Also, that's like if you need an effect to go through, kind of like anything that, like an Ash Blossom or anything that would stop you from otherwise making a play, because it kind of hurts in this deck. You've got your Gravediggers to protect you, not just one copy. I think that 3 would be more than necessary. And then you're going to be running 3 of your new card. It's called Traptrix Holitea. So I'm going to grab this card real quick because reading it is probably a little bit better for you when you guys are looking at this card. Sorry about the glare once again on the end. So Traptrix Holitea says that you can activate this card the turn it was set. It says by discarding one normal trap. By discarding one normal trap, right? So special summon this card in defense position as a normal trap or as a normal monster, a plant, earth, level 4, 400 attack, 2400 defense. It says this card is not treated as a trap. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So pretty busted. You can go into a rank 4 play with this or a link play, and then you can link it off or exceed it off, detach a material. It's in the graveyard. And then you can special summon a material or whatever, any other Traptrix monster that's in your graveyard. You can special summon it back. Pretty broken, in my opinion, and you can run 3 of them. So let's go ahead and move on. So we've got some other traps, of course, in this deck. The traps are the main theme. So even though we're running that new Holitea, we're still playing this card, regardless. Like, there's no other reason to not play it. You're going to be playing 3 imperms as well. Like, you're not going to play imperm, especially this format. If you can trigger Traptrix Sarah's effect on your opponent's turn, that's still like super awesome. Or heck, set it and turn off a zone, right? You're not always going to go first, so you need to main deck evenly matched. There's no debating that at all. Okay, so don't want to hear it in the comments. You need to main deck evenly matched. You're going to be playing 1 Compulse. So many people get on me about like my selection of traps. Compulse obviously is a very good stun card. And most people, they'll run it at 3. Like, they want to run Compulse at 3. Okay, Compulse is good, but like when you draw all 3, it feels real bad, man. So, and I've done that before in the past because I'm an old head and I like to draw, like, and I played these cards like when they were at their prime. I don't like drawing multiples of that card. I like using that card to like interrupt a very strategically. So I do not want to play more than that. Now you could go ahead and flame me in the comments or whatever, but Titanocider is an excellent trap. I've always had my eye on that thing because it consistently brings itself back. And the effect that essentially what it says, if you've never read Titanocider, essentially when your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck, you can negate that monster's effect and reduce its attack to 0, right? Then while it's in the graveyard, if your opponent special summons from the extra deck, you can set it again. And it's not banished after, it just keeps resetting itself every single time. So it's a lot better, in my opinion, than Lost Wind, because the only thing is it's not every special summon, it's special summoning from the extra deck. But a lot of the times when we lose our games or our matchups, it's monsters from the extra deck. It's not necessarily main deck monsters. Those are kind of like your engine or your facilitators to get to your extra deck. So I decided to put this in this strategy just because when it reduces an extra deck monster's attack down to 0, our Traptrix monster, any of them, can start running over their monsters. Plus, it's going to be a recurring problem for your opponent because now they're going to be afraid to special summon from the extra deck because they know you're just going to reset that card and then they're just going to have to deal with it the next turn or the next time that you can activate it, which really hurts your opponent. And it really makes they can obviously waste their resources on trying to get rid of it or trying to play around it. So yeah, that's it for the main deck so far, guys. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. The extra deck is pretty litty, if I freaking say so myself. You're going to be running 3 Traptrix Sarah, pretty busted. Get your engine started. You're going to be running double Cularia. You guys can look up the effects of these things. They're not very confusing or anything like that, in my opinion. You're going to be running 1 Adipus. Like most people would kind of like say that you need to run 2 because of cash or whatever, but you hardly ever go into this card, so you just need 1 copy. Then you're going to be running so the XCs are what makes this deck broken. 1 Pingicula. This card is like stupid. I mean, it's like really stupid because it just turns into a towers. And it gets bigger and bigger with your other Traptrix effects, especially on the field. So essentially, like, you can attach cards to it and it just becomes unaffected by that type of card that's attached to it. It's just really busted. And yeah, it's big. Also for a Traptrix monster, I think one of the biggest. It's 2,500. So yeah, your opponent really has some some things they got to deal with that card. Then you're going to be running two Traptrix Rafflesia. Rafflesia is the OG, right? Like we need Rafflesia in order to get our plays going, also to lock our opponent down, because she can dump a trap directly from the deck and use it as a monster effect. Like that's just for her cost. So it's pretty busted. You're gonna be running an Alamaris. I don't think you need to run more than one of this. Just like Adipus. Adipus is pretty. I mean, Alamaris is pretty decent. Kind of big as well with 2,200. Has two effects. Like I said, you guys can kind of go over that yourself. You're gonna be running one Asa as well. Then you're gonna be running the usual, right? The standard. You're going to be running an Abyss Dweller, and then you're going to be running the Time Thief, and then you're going to be running a Zeus. And yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the deck, man. I mean, this deck is sweet. It's awesome. Traptrix monsters are like dope as hell, and they also have all this new support that's coming out for them is it just makes them like OD, you know what I mean? Just kind of overdoes the entire strategy. So if you like the deck profile, guys, please like, comment, subscribe. We are on our way up to the next level as far as YouTube goes. I really want you guys to join the conversation. Comment down below. Keep the flaming to a minimum. I do have, I do get butthurt real easily. Just kidding. Check me out on my socials. It's on the channel. I will talk with you guys next time. I've got another deck profile that's lit coming up. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, guys, I'll see you at the next conversation. Peace out.